In this series of Healthy Ireland at Your Library videos, viewers are encouraged to develop a positive approach to caring for your mental health. Created by and courtesy of the HSE, all content is based on evidence and research around the areas of wellbeing and positive psychology. Over 8 episodes, we'll provide hints, tips and guidance on how to care for your mental health every day. We're all aware of increasing levels of anxiety and depression. This series gives us the tips to flourish and thrive. It encourages us to discover and appreciate our strengths so we can use them to enjoy life and to look forward to the future. If recent history has taught us anything, it's that we are social beings and how challenging it can be to be disconnected from our relationships. In today's episode, in our Healthy Ireland at Your Library series, we'll be looking at the value of positive relationships on your mental well-being. Theresa McElhinney of the HSE talks about what a positive relationship is and how we can increase their presence in our lives.
The truth is that life would be happier and healthier and more fulfilling with relationships in it. Dr. Martin Seligman, the founder of positive psychology, says that the most important contributor to positive mental health and well-being is to have good relationships. These can be relationships with our family, with our friends or work colleagues. Just generally connecting with others, because we know that good connections are really important to our mental health and well-being. As humans, we're social beings. Just think, since the moment of birth, how important relationships are. None of us would be here without the contribution and nurturing of others. Imagine for a moment that you have a sudden joy, something wonderful happens. Now think about what it's like to share that with somebody else. Your happiness multiplies. So having people in your life that you can share a joke with, have a laugh with, just enjoy being around, means that you increase your positive emotions. The same applies when you have a sadness or experience a stressful situation. Knowing there's someone there to turn to, that will listen to you, feeling you can trust them and feeling their support will help you cope. Having someone to talk things through with also helps you to keep things in perspective. The benefits of positive relationships to our overall health are very powerful. We will live longer. We will have better physical health, like lower cholesterol, improved immunity, lower blood pressure. We're more likely to make good health choices. However, as you can imagine, positive relationships do take effort. So let's look at what we mean by positive relationships. These are relationships that are more likely to have many of the following qualities: trust, honesty, validation, respect, care, compassion, forgiveness, fun, and intimacy. Although most of the qualities I mentioned probably relate to long-standing relationships, like partner or siblings, family members and close friends or long-term work colleagues. But there's a lot of evidence to say as well that even fleeting relationships have an impact on our positive emotions. Just meeting someone on holiday or maybe a club that you're a member of every now and again, they also have an impact on our mental health and well-being. However, the importance of relationships where we feel loved and cared for and understood are the ones that we do need to nurture and work at. Good relationships don't just appear by magic. We do have to put some effort in, but we will see the benefits, so it is worth it. Being a good friend to yourself means that you can be a good friend to other people. And that's the starting point of building positive relationships. We're often more compassionate and forgiving to others than we are to ourselves. How could you be kinder to yourself? How could you notice your strengths rather than your failings? So firstly, take stock of the relationships that you have. It's often easy not to give the most important relationships in your life the attention they actually need. So why is that, do you think? Life can be full of different demands, and we're probably trying to juggle them and balance them as best we can. Everything can seem important all of the time, so it can be hard to prioritize. For instance, if you have maybe small children or a stressful job, it can be very easy to neglect your partner or your very close friends. So does that sound familiar? What can help? So how can we pay real attention to our relationships? When we're spending time with people we care about, what makes the connection really positive is our attention, giving our focus and attention to that person. So no matter how short the time is we might have, it could be 10 minutes in the garden kicking around a ball, or it could be having a quick cup of tea with someone. It's the quality that matters. It's paying attention that makes the difference. We always know when someone has been fully present, and we can be very alert to when someone isn't actually listening to us. We need to show the other person that we're focused on them, not on our phone, and not trying to multitask at the same time. This strengthens our relationship more than if we actually spend twice as long with them, but we're distracted for most of the time. It's not the length of the time we spend with people, it's the quality of the time. Relationships thrive from shared experiences and time together. And it doesn't matter what you're doing, as long as it's something that you all enjoy. And sometimes we have to make the extra effort. Maybe a friend hasn't been in touch for a while, so you could reach out and make that call. And then you might be surprised to hear there was a good reason why they weren't in touch with you. I know what happens with me sometimes is I think of someone that I want to call. But maybe when I'm thinking of making a call, it's not the right time. I don't have the time at that particular moment. So I decide I'll do it later. And then later comes, and maybe I still don't have the time. So the call doesn't get made. But what I find lately, what works for me, is if I make a plan, a decision as to when I'm going to make the call, when I know I'll have the time to give the person my full attention and to enjoy the call. So I set a reminder in my phone, and that way it gets done. And I'm usually delighted I made the call. And so is the other person. Because when it comes to positive relationships, good intentions really aren't enough. We do have to make the effort, and the other person will appreciate that we have. And this is the basis for positive relationships. If you have a friend that you've lost touch with, maybe it's time to pick up the phone or to send a card. You'll be glad you did. Who would like to receive a call or a card from you? Aside from building positive relationships, this is also an opportunity to increase your positive emotions, which we know is important for your mental health and well-being. Even the most resilient relationships can be challenged. We won't always get along, or we might handle tough times in different ways. The main thing is to make sure to communicate. At times we might think we or the other person is a mind reader, but that isn't the case. Saying everything is fine when it isn't, and then expecting the other person to know what isn't fine doesn't work. Believe me, I know. So talk and listen. If there has been conflict, you've fallen out, or you just can't agree, set aside some time to talk. If the conflict is with a partner, make time when you won't be interrupted. If the conflict is with a friend, be the one to reach out and arrange to meet, maybe for coffee. Don't let it fester, as it can grow arms and legs and become bigger than it needs to be. And sometimes relationships need help. If you are struggling, facing it with the help of others can help you through it. Tough times are when we need our friends and family, or perhaps professional help. So ask for it if you need it. I'd like to talk about technology and relationships for a minute. We all know that technology has added to our lives in ways that we couldn't have imagined. It's opened up a world to us. It's allowed us in recent times to stay connected to family and friends, maybe by video calls or messaging or whatever platform that you use. In these situations, technology can positively impact on our mental health and well-being. However, we do know that technology can have an impact on the quality of our face-to-face connections. It can often mean that we're not fully present. How often, maybe in the evening time, do you sit down with your partner or another family member just for a chat? And both of you have your phones beside you. Now the notifications and the messages could be flashing in, but you're being very good, you're not picking up your phone, you're not answering them. But research shows that even just the presence of mobile phones actually have an impact and reduce the quality on our conversations, reduce the depth of our conversations, just by their very presence. So we do need to be mindful of our behaviour. The main message is we need to be aware and careful of how we use our mobile phones and other technology and the impact it can have on our relationships. It's important to strengthen the relationships we have already in our lives, but it is good to be open to new relationships and new connections as well. How do you do that? It can be harder as adults and as we get older to make new friendships and new connections. It is particularly difficult at the moment to make new friends because opportunities to meet new people are so restricted. Are you someone who tends to shy away from accepting invitations? Surprise yourself the next time you get an invitation from someone by saying yes. Another way of doing this is to rediscover old hobbies or interests, or maybe new ones. And that's the way of connecting you with new people, especially hobbies that involve other people. This is particularly important if you are someone who feels lonely or isolated. Or be brave and be up for trying something totally new. Maybe something that you were always interested in, but thought it's not for me. Give it a try. You might be surprised. Find out what's going on in your community or maybe in your workplace. There might be clubs or social events that you actually might enjoy. Another way is volunteering. Volunteering can be a great opportunity to meet new people and to use your skills whilst giving back to your community. The longest study ever carried out on well-being was done by Harvard University over 2 generations. And they discovered that the biggest predictor of good mental health and well-being was the quality of relationships that people had. This is proof of the importance of building positive relationships, of strengthening the relationships that we have, and being open to new ones.